All right, we got the old rear end all apart. I just painted the case here, so I'm gonna let that dry. But I got a new set of bearings. We're gonna put the ring and pinion in it and the spool, and yeah, we'll get her going soon. Okay, I made a huge mess, but I got the exhaust system off. I don't know if I've said, but this arrangement here worked great with the leaf springs. This muffler was under the back seat, so the exhaust comes in to the muffler and then out the front and through my side exit. But this area is exactly where the Caltrac bracket's got to go. So I'm going to have to reconfigure this arrangement. I do have the Caltrac shocks also over there, so I'm replacing those shocks. I've got my 325 limited slip out. I don't know, I made a huge mess. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's leaking at the pinion seal, and I don't know if you'll be able to see on the drive shaft, but when it wheel hopped, the drive shaft is kind of grooved up. That's probably focusing on my finger, right in those areas where it was hitting the yoke and the drive shaft. You can see the black marks where it hit the undercoating on the floor. It was twisting them springs pretty bad. I don't know how I didn't break more stuff, but the rear end started leaking after that. So I'm gonna have to I think knock some of the burrs off of that drive shaft, clean it up. I got to put my drive shaft safety loop in, and then I'm gonna have to redo the exhaust. Anyway, got the pumpkin out, so I can start to replace that with my 411 and everything. So that's where I'm at right now. More updates later as I put the Caltracs and everything in it. Stay tuned. I needed this yoke anyway, but I wanted to pull it off of there. This is the 325 rear end. It was leaking. I don't see anything wrong with the bearings, and the seal really don't look bad, so I don't know why it was leaking, but it was. But I needed this anyway. The rear end here that I had got the smaller U-joint, and it's the shorter. This is a 4-inch, and that's a 5-inch. So I needed this to put this rear end together. So it's got a little groove in there where the seal goes. That might be why it was leaking. I can't feel a deep groove, but you can definitely see it. So I don't know, I might end up still having a little bit of a leak there with the new seal. I don't know. But anyway, you can now start putting this thing together. Stuart, seen in the wild, hunting the elusive grass. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Stewie. He likes to eat grass. And I thought I had some booger welds. Those are some booger welds. All right, we got the Calvert Racing mono leaf. We got the Caltracs bars, the adjustable Caltracs shocks on both sides there, all put together. I'm gonna have to adjust the bars once the car is sitting on its tires, but the Still got the differential out of it. Waiting on a part so I can put that back together and then stick it back in, and then we'll get those adjusted. And yeah, stay tuned. All right, I went to a swap meet today. Let's cover off here. I bought a Daytona pinion collar with bearings. They're Timkins. I got a nodular iron differential. This is aftermarket Speedway. It's got the large bearing caps, so I can run, I think, up to 35 spline, and billet adjusters, and a stronger case around here. So those two things are upgrades. I got the bearings that go with it, also Timken, because it has the larger diameter bearing holes. So these are those bearings, and then I got the shim kit for the pinion, plus a case to carry it all around in. So we're going to abandon the other factory differential, and we're going to build this guy, so it'll be somewhat bulletproof, and I'll have to upgrade my axles, but yeah, this is what we're going to build. Went ahead and purchased a new one of these too. This one is usable, but it does have a little bit of a groove in it, so I'll save it for something else, and we'll just use this guy, brand new from Speedway Motors. All right, get the diff with a little red oxide primer, and this with clear coat engine paint. Also clear coated that over the primer. So we'll begin assembling all of that with all my new parts. All right, I got my inch-pounds torque wrench on there, set up to 15 inch-pounds. Should be 10 to 15, I think, or 10 to 25, 15 to 25, I don't know. Anyway, 15 is about good. So that's where we're at. New bearings, new seal, new nut, and I used the gear oil gasket maker on the splines, so there'll be no seepage of gear oil back through there. So next step. All right, I got the new Timken bearings on. These are the 3.060 for the larger bearing holders. So now I'm going to put the ring gear on and put this thing together. All right, we put a little Loctite on those babies. We'll torque them down, and then we can start to assemble this. Okay, backlash, I think it's 8/10, or 8 thousandths, sorry, 8 thousandths. And then I got my pattern right in the center, this way and this way, on the drive and the heel side. So preload set, backlash, gear pattern. We're good. So I need to get this bracket off. The Lincoln Versailles uses this as a bearing retainer and the disc brake bracket. So there's this retainer ring I cut with my die grinder, the death wheel, and then there was just by cutting that it split there. I hit it with the chisel and the hammer, and she broke enough to come off. So I got to do that same thing with the bearing. That's a little more difficult because I don't want to cut this. I don't really have to worry about the axle because I'm not using it, but it's a good axle, so I don't want to destroy it. So let's see if we can cut this bearing apart. I need to get, I guess the outer race will be not a big deal. I need to get that off though so I can cut the inner race. All of that I got to do without damaging this guy. So let's see how that goes. All right, again, we cut that guy, hit it with a chisel and it split, so I just got to bust it in half, get all the pieces off, and work on the inner race. Got the outer race busted off of there. Throw that in the scrap bin. Knocked all the ball bearing pieces out. This piece was able to slide off of the axle with the inner race still on there. I may go ahead and try to get that off just so it's off, but this was really what I was after, so that wasn't so difficult. I need these for the new axle. Okay, the other retainer's off. They just split under tension when you get them cut and weakened. See the split there, and then that leaves it loose enough and pry it off with a pry bar. So we got that other one off. The outer part of the bearing. It's the cage with the balls on it. And then this guy slides right off. So, and here's the inner race. If you cut through, you need a relatively small cutting wheel so you can get as close as possible without damaging anything. And then you just smack it with a chisel a few times and it'll crack through, and that takes the tension off and it'll pop right off. And there's the other one. Got it split, and once you hit it with the chisel and crack it, it slides right off. You're able to press a new bearing on there. So it's a pain in the butt, but it works. So this is about all I'm going to get done this week. Got the rear diff assembled with my spool, 411 gears, nodular iron case, Daytona pinion, 1330 5-inch long yoke, which is what I had on there before. Got the retainers off the old Lincoln Versailles axles. They're just kind of sitting on the axle for now. Got the Caltracs on. So as soon as my new axles get here, I'll press on the new bearings and retainers and get all of that assembled, and the rear end will be back together. I guess one last follow-up. I got my rivet nuts, whatever you want to call those things, and my drive shaft safety loop. So my tool from Harbor Freight was too small for these, so I ordered a big one. Then I can get that mounted, and I did get my battery shut off, all hooked up, so we're all legal to shut off the battery. All right, now I'm going to wrap this video up. Stay tuned for more.